Version 2.0 of our scriptable text engine provides the user with the ability to create new items in any area of the world, and they now have the ability to interact with these items. They are now able to embed Python scripts into events, which may be triggered by the exploration of the user. We have now made it possible for the user to play their adventure and save their progress so they can load it at a later time. Along with these features has come a focus on testing. We place more focus on testing during the cycle because the base features are now complete and should be as bulletproof as possible.
This cycle started off more smoothly for us than the last due to the fact that we knew our intent from the beginning of week one. This cycle's intent focused heavily on the creation of a basic inventory. Along with this, we aim to enable the user to view specific objects around the world in search of details that may aid them in their exploration. We decided that after those two tasks were completed, we could focus on enabling the user to embed scripts into events throughout the world. We aim to have the save and load feature done towards the end of the cycle, as well as exhaustive tests for new and existing features.
For the first cycle, we included code reviews into our meetings, which were intended for other purposes. This has led to less effective use of our time during meetings, and has also made our code reviews less thorough, which led to undesired and redundant code. For this cycle, we decided to have specific meeting times to go over code for each feature on a regular basis. Along with this, we have specific guidelines that we aim to have our code abide by. By adjusting our code review process, we now have a less redundant code, and all group members are consistently kept up to date on features of focus.
By having our intent clearly laid out on week one, we were able to easily implement all of our intended features with time to spare, which allowed us to create meaningful tests for our features. The inventory feature allows the user to create new items in any area where they will be able to interact with the items by taking, dropping, or viewing the item. The specific looking feature provides the user the ability to define closer details about the object, which can then be viewed by the player when in search of hints or clues. The embedded script feature enables the user to create Python scripts, which can then be attached to events such as taking or dropping an item or using a transition. Along with these features comes the ability for the user to save their progress so that they can halt execution of the program and resume playing at a later time.
During the last cycle, we found the process of sequential design followed by simultaneous implementation to be beneficial. We first decided on a general design for embedding scripts into the features so that we could add this functionality to new features as we implement them. We then decided to design inventory before the looking feature due to the fact that the specific looking feature is very focused on the items in the player's inventory and the areas they are in. We designed the save and load feature last because it includes saving all of the properties relative to the features that came before it.
John here. I will now be taking you through the final design and the demo.
So here we have the design document for all of the features that we've implemented throughout this cycle. I'll just scroll through it quickly so that you can pause and take a look at any specific details if you'd like. We're actually going to go through the inventory and embedded item script logic together, but as you can see, we could not go through this entire thing. It would take forever. But all of the features are in here with design and possible tests, simple tests that have been written for them, on top of some more extreme tests. So first we have the pickup item logic. We have to check the area for the item. If it is in the area, check if it is takeable. If it is takeable, add that item to the player's array, inventory array, and remove it from the array in the area for the items in the area. And if there's any success scripts that need to be run those. If there's any on success messages to be printed, print those, and vice versa for failure. Here we have the drop item logic. Iterate through the inventory to check the existence of the item. If it does exist, remove the item from the player's inventory and then add the item to the area by appending that object to the items array in the area, and print a success message. If there is no item, print the error message, you do not have that item. Here are some simple tests that we have written on top of some more extreme tests. When calling pickup item, the item exists, you would expect a success message, you take the item. When calling drop item, the item exists in the inventory, you would expect a success message, you drop the item. Vice versa, you would expect the error messages, there is no that item, and you do not have that item when trying to drop and when trying to pick up, but there is not that item. And another simple test that we thought of is you could try to pick up an item that does exist or drop it, but that item's in another area. This verifies the logic that you can't pick up an item that exists in another area. So now we will go over the demo that includes some tests and some simple functionality of these. So here we have some scripts defined by the author, as you can see, some sounds, some pictures. Down here we are appending a script to the path transition, and here we are appending a script to the sword on success when you pick it up. And the sword also has a detailed description. That's the specific viewing functionality. We take a look. That's the bird sounds. We have that as an embedded script for when you load the game. So we take a look, we see the sword in its simple description, but if we were to look at the sword, we get its more detailed description. Now if we want to take the sword, we'll hear the sword sound that I have embedded the script to. Now we could drop the sword. Let's not do that though. Let's go down the path and you'll hear the script for the path. Now if we want to drop the sword, oh, I didn't mean that. Drop the sword. We look, we'll see the sword there, we can look at it again. Okay, now if we want to, let's save. And then let's cancel it and show that we are now able to load. We load, and sorry, this is overloading bird sounds. But you can see that we're back in the woods, and if we look, the sword's still there. We take the sword, the script is still attached, and that's the functionality that we have for the embedded scripts of items and transitions and specific viewing, and of course the inventory. So now we'll go on to some tests. So here we have our test file. As you can see, we have a new area test, a new transition test, move player test. All of them are quite long. We have a look test, which tests out the specific viewing capabilities. We have the save and load tests, which pretty much encapsulate all features in those tests. Prints out a series of success and fail messages depending on if what was supposed to happen happened. Right now we have them all succeeding, and we run these tests every time that we add new features to see if everything is still succeeding. So we'll go over the inventory tests quickly. Just like all other tests, it lets you know what you should expect when the test is running. That way when we run these tests, we know that if what they did was intended and we didn't break anything. So right here we just make a bunch of items into a world. We add some failure scripts, some success scripts, some failure messages, some success messages, and we test to see that those are actually happening when they should be happening. So if we run this, we can see that we get the desired output as of now. Hopefully it stays that way. So here we have all of these, all of the output, and this is how most of our tests work. Some of the older tests aren't up to this level yet, but we're still working on getting them all to be, as bulletproof as possible. So yeah, thank you for watching.